Welcome to the Puller's Pit Podcast, hosted by BigMike and his buddy Ray Big Country Cote. This is your one-stop shop for everything related to arm wrestling and grip strength, news, and entertainment. Presented by Infinity Functional Performance, 98 Armwrestling, Castle Rock Ranch in Golden Valley, Arizona, and Mad Tuna Fishing Charters. This is the Puller's Pit. Welcome to the Puller's Pit Podcast. My name is BigMike, and I'm with one of my best buddies of all time, Ray Big Country Crush Cote. How's it going, Ray?
What's up, brother? How you doing?
Man, I'm doing great. I'm glad to be back with you. It's been a long time, but we're back in the saddle again, brother.
We go back a long way, bro.
We sure do, man. And once again, this is the Puller's Pit Podcast. My name is BigMike, and I'm with Ray Big Country Crush Cote. And this is your one-stop shop for everything arm wrestling and grip strength-related news and entertainment. Of course, we're presented by Infinity Functional Performance, 98 Armwrestling, Castle Rock Ranch in Golden Valley, Arizona, and Mad Tuna Fishing Charters. Ray, for the folks tuning in for the first time, maybe they're just stumbling across our podcast, tell us about yourself. Who are you?
So, as Big Mike said, I'm Ray Big Country Cote. I'm a competitive arm wrestler. I've been in the sport since 1985. I started out with a team called Granite Arms. The coach is Badger Drews out of Hooksick, New Hampshire. The longest running organized team in the country. And over the years, I've competed all over the country. Been to Europe, England in competitions. Did fairly well for myself. I left the sport in 1999 after I won the Petaluma World Wrist Wrestling Championships. Kind of got out of the went a different direction, got into strongman and powerlifting. And then in 2014, my wife, a lot of people may know her by Autumn, the Beautiful Disaster Cote. She wanted to get into arm wrestling. She found my old table, and we started arm wrestling. And then shortly after getting back into arm wrestling, I created a workout handle called the Country Crush Weight Handle, which is basically a V-shaped handle with rotating grips.
You could actually show us. You got one right there.
Yeah. Some of you might remember it.
That's right. I built the website for that thing.
This is the actual prototype. You can't really see it, but it's got Scott Mendelson's, one of the best benches of all times, autographs on it. But I invented the Country Crush Weight Handle, and things kind of exploded for me from there. I met Big Mike. Big Mike created the first ever website for Country Crush that we operated off of for the first 2 years.
Ugly thing.
But you know what? It was very functional.
It was functional, got the job done for a couple of years. That's right.
As we grew bigger and we became more professional, I had the website redone. I kind of stepped away from competing because I was focusing on my wife's training. She was in arm wrestling from 2014 until early 2018, where she actually had her final match against Rebecca Todd, of which she won. Then my wife transitioned into arm lifting. So we kind of left the competing side of it, but I was still involved with arm wrestlers. I was sponsoring 12 different athletes, sponsoring events, so on and so forth. In 2021, about mid-COVID, I sold the company to Zane Cote, and I left the sport of arm wrestling altogether. Got rid of the social media, got rid of all that, and then kind of just chilled for a while. On September of 2023, if you can believe it, Big Country was kind of a small guy. I was 236 pounds. And I accepted a super match against a massive man, Ike Ford, at 400 pounds.
Mm.
I went out to Georgia, and Ike smashed me. I mean, he just absolutely dominated me. But that kind of put a lit a fire under my ass to get back into
Right.
competition.
Yeah.
So got back into while I was out in Georgia, I accepted another super match with Michael Nance. So I had to get even lighter. I got all the way down to 215 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah. January of 2024 was my super match against Michael Nance at the LA Fit Expo, the UAL's California State Championships. I beat Michael, entered the Masters division um, of that tournament, took fourth place both hands. Again, just igniting that flame. I was having fun in the sport of arm wrestling again. So got into the gym, started training my butt off. I got up to 270 pounds, and I competed in the UAL Anaheim Fit Expo event, same Masters division, and I went undefeated. It was the U.S. Open, went undefeated, right and left hand. Everybody that beat me in January, I smashed in August.
We're gonna
And
have to find the clips from that. We'll have to play them.
I think I got some on the YouTube channel actually.
Yeah. We'll have to run that back.
Yeah, so I've had some pretty good success. I've had a few super matches. So for the exception of Ike Ford, I've won every super match since. My most recent super match was against Steve Kowalski up in Springerville, Arizona this past September. I beat him 3-1 in a right-handed super match. Really tough guy, very, very strong, had a high table IQ. It was a great matchup. I got to meet some really great people, and now we're 2026, man, and I am co-owner along with Mark Q. Lundgren of the 98 American Southwest Arm Wrestling League, which is covers California, Nevada, Arizona, and Utah. We had our first event this past November 1st. Wasn't the biggest event, we had 80 entries, but it was a very well run event. I was very proud of it. We gave away some great money. We gave away over $9,000 in cash.
Wow,
Um,
incredible.
we had 8 super matches where each winner of each super match got a custom 6.5-pound belt, championship belt, custom awards.
Nice.
We had some great sponsors, like AK Arm Combat, donated one of his training tables and a bunch of handles. Mikey Olivia from ProGearApparel.com donated some supplements. So we had a lot of support. The 98% arm wrestling family, Ryan Grondin, flew all the way in from Pennsylvania to support the event. So, it's 2026 where it's on and cracking, and bigger things to come.
So what sets 98 arm wrestling apart from the other leagues that are out there?
So, in my experience, in my opinion, and in no way is this talking down on the other leagues, but I think the other leagues focus too much on the 2% of the sport. The Devin Lorettes, the Michael Todds, the Marcio Barbosas of the sport, right? If you look back in history,
Sure. The big names.
when
Yeah.
when Robert Drank owned and ran the UAL, all you ever saw was Matt Mask, Michael Todd, John Brezink, all these top guys, right? Then
Mhm.
UAL kind of fell from glory, I guess you could say. And then WAL came in. Same thing. It was the
Right.
same top 2% guys that were getting all the TV time, getting all the matches. Then you had King of the Table, um, you know, East versus West. They all go after the same 2%. Well, what 98% stands for, literally 98%, wearing it on my shirt, is we go after the 98% of the other guys of the rest of the sport that actually build the sport, support the sport, right? That are
Yeah.
trying to get where Devin Lure, and by no means am I dogging the 2%, right? They've worked hard.
Right. Sure.
They
They're there.
deserve
They're their 2% for a reason,
right,
deservedly
and they
so. Right. Of
right,
course.
and they absolutely deserve to be there, right?
Sure.
But we focus on the guys that are trying to get there.
Hmm.
You know, the Paul Passmores, the Paul Cruzes, the Logan Bittingers, the Corey West. Those guys are who we focus on and we try to attract into our events. And we're not a league, man. We're a lifestyle. And I truly believe that. We have franchises from East Coast to West Coast into Canada, you know. We're always putting on events nationwide. We're supportive of one another. Like we 98%, which I don't know of any other league or organization that does this, but this is one thing I wanted to point out about 98%. 98% has a fund. It's not a big fund, right? It's not like you're going to get tens of thousands of dollars. But say you get hurt at a 98% event. There's a fund that's available that will send you a gift package, send you something, to hopefully help you along in your
It's not quite health insurance, but it's a step in the right direction. I get you.
right. Because most
Yeah.
again, my opinion, right? I've been around in this sport for a long time, and most promoters, most people who put on events, an injury happens, you walk off the stage, and they forget about you.
Right.
It's let the show continue, move on to the next.
Right.
We want to show people that you're more to us than just an arm. You're more to us than just an entry fee, right? You
Right.
are you are a family. You are what drives 98. You are 98%. So I believe that's what separates us from everyone else.
Yeah. I mean, that's that certainly does set you guys apart. I do appreciate you guys kind of reaching out and trying to get some new names and faces and into the sport. And I think that that's incredibly important for where it's at right now, in its life cycle. So Ray, you're obviously very well backed in quite a few different strength sports. Which would be like you say is your baby? Which is your favorite?
Man, I've been involved in so many things, but I absolutely love arm wrestling. Um,
Yeah.
you know, when I first started in this sport, you know, for lack of a better term, um, I was kind of a prodigy, man. I was kicking ass and taking names. Arm wrestling people like the Stark brothers, a young Mike Silieris. As I went up in weight, I met bigger, better competitors like Fred Decker, Al Turner, the godfather of arm wrestling. And every time I've left the sport, I've always found myself coming back to it. You know, Arm wrestling is kind of unique in the sense of you don't need a team. Yeah, it's nice
Mm.
to have people to train with, but you don't need a team. It's you, yourself, and your dedication and your hard work. You know,
Right.
if you look at any of my postings on my social media, you see very few of me actually pulling with other people. Mine and my wife's and my daughter's training consists of all gym time. You know,
I mean,
I,
I love watching those videos when they pop up for me and I see whatever you're working on because you do work on new pieces of gym equipment all the time. I've just saw something that you just worked on that's got a new pulley system and it was for your table and it was an arm mechanism and you were going to put a pulley slightly in a different spot. So you're always working on stuff, man. So you're
yeah.
always thinking about
That table there is a cupping table that was designed by Ben Freeman of AKA armcombat.com. And the way he had the cable system initially, was kind of short for me. So I created a bracket to go onto the back of the table that I could move side to side and get different
Mm.
angles, right? Because I like to create things too. So whenever I see something, I'm always looking to try to improve it. So I created the bracket. Matter of fact, me and the wife used it tonight. It worked great.
Oh,
Um,
cool.
but yeah, I just wanted and what works great is I'm able to the way I designed the bracket, I'm able to use the back bracket. My wife's arm's a little shorter than mine. My daughter's arm is a lot shorter than mine. So they're able to use the front bracket and there's no interference between the two.
That's great, man. Well, Ray, I wanted to ask you, since we're, talking about arm wrestling, and we're it's so important to you and I both. I want to get a sense of who your top 5 greatest arm wrestlers of all time would be, brother.
Top 5. Wow.
Yeah,
So
give me your top 5.
I actually wrote it down. My number one, he's not only my number one in this top 5, but he's by far my favorite arm wrestler of all time, and that's Devin Lorette. I know what I'm
Mm,
about to say is going to be a little controversial because everybody considers John Brzenk the goat of arm wrestling. And don't get me wrong, John is amazing, right? I mean,
right.
something like 4.5 decades of at the top of the sport, and at 60 years old, he could probably come back and still stay at the top of the sport, right?
Absolutely. I hope he does, dude. I'm a
Which
Brezink
which i-
fan.
which is phenomenal. And I've
He's
had the great
Superman to me.
honor I've had the great honor of actually pulling John in tournaments. Um,
Really?
yeah, the last I pulled John at Universal Studios. Oh God, what year was it? I want to say back in like 1992 or 93. Of course, he won
Ooh,
our
that's peak Brezink, brother.
right.
How strong
Of
was
course,
he?
he won the tournament. I ended up taking third. I lost to John and I lost to Don McClary. Then I had a chance to pull John in 2000 up in Reno, Nevada. It was a Denise Waddles and Leonard Harkless event. Um, Lost to John. I took third there too. I lost to John and his brother Bill, but I beat a young Tom Nelson. Tom Tom
Hey.
Nelson had just got into the sport, and I beat him. But yeah, I've had the opportunity, the privilege of pulling John. Absolute beast, absolute gentleman at the table. Um, he definitely deserves all the accolades that he has. But my favorite arm wrestler, man, is Devin Lorette. I think Devin Lorette's the GOAT, not just because of the level that he competes at, but everything he does for the sport, right?
Oh,
I
sure.
don't I don't think there's any more visible arm wrestler on this planet outside of the sport of arm wrestling than Devin Lorette. I mean, the man literally got into a boxing ring with half Thor Bjornsson, you know,
Yeah.
and a lot of people
Yeah.
may not
He's
know this,
cool,
but
man.
Devin Lorette's also Canadian Special Forces. Um,
Right.
he's very skilled on the mat in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I always pronounce this guy's name wrong, but he did a match against Jumi Jufu, whatever his name is.
Oh,
I
sure.
always
Yeah. Yeah.
I always slaughter his name. To being on talk shows, to doing things with WWE. There's
Mhm.
nobody more visible outside of the sport of arm wrestling than Devin. And
Definitely.
to me, that's what makes him the GOAT and my number one pick in my top 5. My number 2 guy, a lot of people probably don't know this guy. I'll be surprised if you know him. Gary Goodrich.
Oh, oh,
Uh,
yeah, sure. I've heard that
Gary
name. Yeah.
Gary Goodrich was an absolute beast on the table.
The Yukon Jack tournaments in the,
Yeah,
like,
where
mid
he beat
'90s, right? He killed
yeah,
him.
where he
Yeah.
beat John Brzenk.
Mhm.
he left the sport of arm wrestling and he entered the UFC. You know,
Right, and I think he won the first UFC championship or something like that. One of the really early
I
ones, he
think it was
was
the third. It was one of the very early
3rd.
ones.
Yeah, one of the super early ones. He was a UFC champion too. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's a beast, dude.
You know, so Gary Goodrich would be my second pick. My third pick, another old arm wrestler, Dave Patton. Um, him and Alan Fisher had some wars back in the day. Again, through the Yukon Jack tournaments, they absolutely had wars. Fourth would be Al Turner. He had out of Massachusetts. He had the nickname the Godfather of arm wrestling. There is a photo out there where he was doing a modified one-arm preacher curl with over 300 pounds. I don't know if
Wow.
that was legit or not, but I personally saw him easily do a 200-pound modified preacher curl. Um, then
You saw that with your own eyes.
to round off the top 5, you have to throw Cleve Dean in there, the big old
The
hog
big
farmer,
man.
you
Yep.
know, 100+ pound man would go through people like they were, but John Brezink beat him convincingly, you know? And there's a lot of people that you could say could be in the top 5, right? But that's my top 5.
Let me shoot one just off the top of my head. I would say Brezink, Devin, and then I would go Cobra Rhodes. I like Cobra Rhodes. I like
Yep.
Travis Bajan. And then I would say Alan Fisher. I love Alan Fisher. You know, I think he's a great puller too.
I mean,
That would be probably my top 5 if you just asked me at the jump without even really thinking about it.
and you would be right in saying that, right? You can't take away anything, from the men that you just mentioned. Allen is a 26 or a 27 time, you know, world arm wrestling champion. He's 70 years old. He's still competitive at a high level at that age. He kind of reminds me of an arm wrestler. I believe he's 85 years old, 85 or 86. Still competes at a high level. His name is Norm Devio. Um, just an
Oh,
absolute,
yeah, I've heard of that. Yeah, I have heard
yeah.
that name before. Yeah.
And he's beating guys 20, 30 years old, right?
Mhm.
Um, Travis Bajan, I call Travis the Muhammad Ali of arm wrestling.
Oh, yeah.
There's
He's a
there is
good trash
nobody
talker.
who has a better game at shit talking than Travis Bajan. Um,
Not when it comes to my mind.
you know,
I mean, Tom Nelson's pretty good too at the shit talk, but
Tom Nelson's good, but not at the level of Travis, man. Travis is a great arm wrestler, don't get me wrong.
mhm.
But Travis's mouth is what made him famous and what made him popular, you know. Um, so he's definitely in there. Definitely
Yeah,
in there.
that's definitely, my whole background is I kind of fell into it when I stumbled upon Pulling John, the documentary that came out in like the mid 2000s, and I I saw John and Alexi Vovoda and this young kid from West Virginia, Travis, and it was amazing. It was like my favorite movie for the longest time. And then, it's strictly from like a fan point of view. I never really competed or anything like that, just an observer. And Game of Arms came around, and then they had the WAL thing on ESPN. I mean, it was great stuff for arm wrestling for a while. So yeah,
It's funny.
that definitely got me hooked. And then I happened to meet you, and then just kind of stumbled into talking to more and more arm wrestlers, and so it's been fun.
It's funny that you brought up Pulling John because I've watched that documentary several times. But is it just me, or did it seem like it was more of a documentary about Travis Bajan?
Right? Yeah. I mean, Travis Bajan, he made up like a significant portion of that film, but it was the three character story was just super fascinating to me. And
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, that's obviously one of the best films related to arm wrestling, I would say. And in one of my opinions. But so yeah, you are definitely listening and watching the Puller's Pit podcast, and we're brought to you by Epic Engineering and sportsgrips.com, armcombat.com, and progearapparel.com. So, Ray, we've talked a little bit about your arm wrestling league, your 98% Southwest. What's the next event you have coming up?
So the next event I have coming up, it hasn't been 100% confirmed, but I don't foresee any problems with it. It's going to be May 2nd in California City, California. It's sponsored by a nonprofit organization called Voices of Our Youth. And what do? They help relocate and save children from abusive situations. Um, this is going to be the name of this is going to be TORTOISE Days, Battle in the Desert, brought to you by 98 American Southwest Arm Wrestling. A little bit different of a format than what people are used to. This is going to be an event that's not going to have any pro class, none. Zero pro class. It's going to be masters, amateurs, men's amateurs, and then it's going to be a locals class and it's going to be a kids class. So we're not going to have a women's class and we're not going to have a pro class. We're going to focus on amateurs and us old guys who can't quite perform the way we used to, but still like to compete. We're going to have an overall amateurs champion, which will have a beautifully custom made belt. We've got some awesome 3-inch custom medals being made. We'll have event shirts. We're going to have, and it's a family thing. So it's a festival. So you'll be able to bring your kids out. There'll be stuff there for your kids to do to keep them occupied. There'll be food vendors so you can buy food and eat throughout the day. It is an outdoor event. It is in the middle of the desert. So bring your pop-up shade protectors, bring your chairs. So that's May. I think it's gonna be a great event. Um, as you know, I've always gone a different way. I've always tried to highlight those coming up, not necessarily that they have a name, but they're trying to make a name. So that's why I'm focusing on the amateurs on this event.
May 2nd. And of course, we're going to have some more information in the description below where you can find out some more information about this event coming up. But
Yeah, we have a Facebook page.
so how will who's you have a Facebook page already ready to go?
Yeah, we have an event page already up.
All right,
Yep,
cool.
it gives you the classes, the date and time of the event, how much each class is gonna cost, so on and so forth.
Do you already have your refs laid out and everything?
So I have, well, I'm a certified ref through Sean Hancock. So I can't pronounce his last name because he's from Ukraine. But
Ah,
my head ref is going to be Mike from Arizona. Anybody who has pulled in Arizona or around here knows who he is. He's a level 3 ref. He was one of my head refs at my last event. He does a great job. Um, I'm going to be asking Robert and Tara Terry if they'll be able to do it. So I've only got one ref locked in thus far. Robert and Tara Terry, great people. They're great refs. Tara is the number one ranked 154-pound left hand, I believe, in the state of
wow.
California, and she has a great product called TNT Muscle Rub. It's all organic. It works great. Um, if you got Facebook, look up Tara Terry, hit her up. I used to use DMSO and Thai kickboxing oil, and I stopped using it when I discovered Tara's product. It works 10
Oh,
times
wow.
better. But I'm going to ask them. I'm also going to ask Crispin Woods. He's uh, uh, I believe he's a level 2 or level 3 ref with UAL. And I'm going to ask Ben Freeman as well. So, got a few referees in mind. Just have to reach out to them.
That's incredible. So somebody who just they're interested in arm wrestling and this might be their first event that they sign up for. Is there going to be anybody there to kind of take them under their wing and show them what to do so they don't break their arm? Because I know that that's a big thing with people who are just kind of getting into it. They don't want to, go. They don't know what they're doing half the time. It's a lot more. There's a lot more involved to the sport than just try as hard as you can. There's
Right.
technique
So
and a lot of different things that play. Is there going to be somebody there to kind of, hey, is this your first time? Let me show you some stuff.
So absolutely. So like I said, we're going to have a locals event or a beginners class, right? So in order to be able to compete in this particular class, you have to be a resident of what we call the 5 boroughs: California City, Boron, Roseman, Mojave, and Tehachapi. So you have to have a residence in one of these cities in order to compete. Myself, my wife, we're going to give a little seminar off to the side to show the safety, go over the rules, because ultimately it's the arm wrestler that has to protect himself. What people have to understand about arm wrestling is this is a combat sport, right?
Hmm.
Like in
Hmm.
boxing, MMA, you have to protect yourself. So we're
Yep.
going to go over, the basics. Always look at your hands, stay tight, keep your shoulder behind your arm. Of course, our referees can stop a match at any time if they feel that any arm wrestler is in an unsafe position. So our referees will be on top of that, especially during the beginners class and the kids classes, because like you said, we don't want anyone getting hurt. Our last event, November 1st, we did unfortunately have one injury. Dino Muslik tore his bicep. It wasn't because he was in a bad position or anything like that. It's just one of those freak accidents that happen.
Just happens sometimes,
Yeah, you know, but absolutely, we're gonna have, and keep in mind, I have a full commercial gym in my garage, so I open it up to everybody in the neighborhood. I get kids that come over
Oh,
and
that's great.
wanna know about it, through Voices of Our Youth. We're setting up along with the city's, activity center, the Strata Center. We're trying to organize a weekly practice where people can come and learn about the sport. So hopefully we generate more interest, and by the time the event comes here, the people that will compete in it will already have a pretty good solid grasp on what arm wrestling is and what it's about.
It's incredible, man. I can't wait for that event. Hopefully, I'll be able to scrounge around enough money I can buy a plane ticket and come out for that and see you for the first time in a long time.
Well, who knows, man? Maybe I can get enough sponsorship where I can bring you out.
Oh, that'd be great. I'd make it worth your while. I'd do some filming, or we'll cut some video, so it'll be fun. It'll be.
Absolutely.
I'll be productive. No worries about that.
There you go.
But so yeah, man, thanks for sitting down and thanks for reaching out and setting this up so that we could let's get something, get another project rolling, another passion project. This has been the Polar's Pit podcast. I'm Mike, and this is Ray. And if you have any ideas about the podcast, or if you want to come on as a guest, reach out to Ray or myself, and we'll work something out. We'd be more than happy to invite more people on here and talk to them about the sport of arm wrestling or anything related to the world of strength sports. Right. So, with that said, I think we're going to go ahead and call it for this week. I'm Big Mike, and Ray, why don't you go ahead and send us off?
All right, brother. As always, guys, as I like to say, this is Big Country signing off. Thank you for joining us on our first episode. We look forward to continuing. Like Big Mike said, if you want to come on, if you want to be a part of this, just hit us up. If you want to sponsor our show, hit us up. And as I always say, peace, always love, and hang loose till next week. Take care, everybody.